Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV, where I'm privileged to be joined for today's session by Temi. Now Temi, who you can see right here, graduated from King's College London in 2015 with a BSc in Neuroscience. That not being enough of an achievement, she then decided to earn an MA in creative writing a year later from the University of Edinburgh. And then, neither of those being enough of an achievement, decided to write the award-winning Do You Dream of Terra-Two, a big favorite of everybody at Forbidden Planet, an amazing book which last year won the American Library Association's Alex Award. Such an amazing achievement for a first novel.
Oh,
and so it's brilliant. And so thank you very much for joining us, Temi. And you're here to talk about Titan Books' upcoming anthology project, Black Panther Tales of Wakanda. But before we get into that, how are you?
Oh, yeah, I was saying that I'm feeling very excited because I just handed in the draft of my second novel. So I'm like, oh, what am I going to do with all this free time now? Yeah.
I mean, enjoy your life, surely. That's the thing.
Yeah, there's sort of a long list of things I've neglected, like sort of towards the end of whenever I have a deadline, everything narrows down and all my priorities kind of vanish, and like I haven't tidied, and then I don't know, everything falls by the wayside, and I feel like I have to just pick up all of the people all the calls I've ignored for a month or so.
Yeah, yeah, right on. No, but it's that feeling, and I say this as a kind of journalist, last editor myself, that feeling of handing in the manuscript, right? There's no better feeling than that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the whole, right, that's it, I've handed it in. That's such a brilliant, such a brilliant concept.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
especially with my second novel.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
I think, yeah, because with I spend a lot of time being like, oh, what if I can only write one? What if it was a two?
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's like, I guess that's the author equivalent of, in the music business, they call it, the difficult third album, syndrome, where, the first one's all the songs you've had for 20 years of your life. And then you've got to do it again on a 2-yearly basis or something.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But the truth is, Do You Dream of Terra-Two is such an amazing debut that personally, I can speak for all of us at Forbidden Planet, we all had faith that your next book was going to be equally awesome. So we can't wait.
Oh, thank you.
and also, to put my Titan Books hat on for a second, we're so pleased that you came on board and got involved with editor JesseJHolland and the team of amazing writers writing for Black Panther Tales of Wakanda. Now, your story, you actually close out the collection.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You're one of the two prime positions that you get.
Yeah,
right?
I was wondering about how that was decided, but I feel very privileged.
Yeah, I'd take the plaudits, mate. It's decided for a lot of good reasons. So your story is ZOYA the Deserter. What can you tell me about it?
So yeah, I think I was spending a lot of time thinking about Wakanda and what it means to, for example, my family, just imagining it. And so my main character wakes up in London and she's in a world where no one believes that Wakanda exists. So she has to, but she's like, but there's this place in Africa where everything is amazing and our cars fly. And a lot of people don't believe. There's sort of a small group of people who really want to believe. And I sort of feel like a lot of us are in that category. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
so that's the arc that she works through. What an interesting way to deal with the concept of the hidden nation and that society that nobody knows about until the events of the movie, until the events of the recent movies. I think that's such a clever way into it. Speaking of ways into it, and now I know, because we were just talking off camera about what a long-term Forbidden Planet fan you are, and as I say to all our long-term customers, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
But I know you go way back with Forbidden Planet. When were you first introduced to the Black Panther? When did you first discover T'Challa?
Oh, well, honestly, I think I'd probably say, I kind of came across him occasionally in the Avengers world, reading about it, but I didn't start getting interested in the comics until Ta-Nehisi Coates started writing them.
Wow, such an
Yeah,
amazing author as well, and that's
I
such a brilliant run.
I think so. It was amazing. I think just because I love him and like everything, I'm pretty much like devoted to everything that he's written. So yeah, that definitely made me really excited about the comics. And I loved watching the movies. I think it was sort of a really great moment for loads of people. Me and my whole family went to see it together. And we always have this joke because my grandma always falls asleep in movies. And we're like, is she going to fall asleep? Is she going to fall asleep? And this movie, she was literally on the edge of her seat, which is so, like, it was so lovely to see. Yeah.
I believe it. I mean, I can only imagine, because, correct me if I'm wrong, your sort of lineage is Nigerian, right?
Yeah.
So what it must have felt like to watch that film, you know, having had the family line that you've got, it just must have been so amazing for them, you know, to see a film.
That's the thing, like, especially in my family. I think my grandma is pretty much, because she's the one who came to Britain when she was like in her 30s. I feel like her whole life she's just kind of like looking for different reflections of home, and she's only she'll only really be interested in the story if it has like Nigerian characters, or it kind of reminds her and like helps with the homesickness, I guess. So yeah, when she was watching Black Panther, I think she was so happy seeing all of the
amazing. And I imagine things like the investiture scene where he wins the mantle of the Black Panther. Those moments really, would seem to me, really take a lot of cultural references, you know, from the African continent. It just must have been amazing to watch.
Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah, and I think that sort of like that sort of unity that people felt, the kind of like real like kind of beautiful Pan-African vision that it is really lovely as well.
Yeah. No, that's phenomenal. What would you say the character T'Challa and the cast and characters of the Black Panther world and Wakanda itself represent to you?
I suppose Wakanda is kind of like, it's such an optimistic vision of like what we're all kind of striving to achieve. I don't know, this like really beautiful country, and like the technology that's really advanced, and I don't know, I suppose it reminds me of what I'm always trying to do with science fiction, which is people say like you can't build it unless you can imagine it, and like it's something to kind of strive towards, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I that makes sense to me. I mean, I thinking about your career thus far, I mean, it must be a very resonant chord that essentially you're dealing with a nation of people who are very creatively scientific, and of course that's what you are. You know, you're that very unique arc. Not that there aren't other people out there who've had an art like yours, but it's relatively unusual. You have people who are accomplished scientifically and have got the gift of being able to write at the same time.
Yeah.
So I would have thought, watching it in your shoes, that leaps off the screen in Black Panther, right?
Yeah, I think especially Shiri, the character.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
I definitely felt like I related to her. I've kind of noticed, like, growing up, because I was a very nerdy kid. Like, I loved science. I remember when I met my best friend in school, we were both like 11, and we had to go to our first lesson. She's like, oh, I think it's science. And I was like, I love science. And she looked at me like, who are you? And I think, like, when I was growing up, I hardly ever, I sort of felt like a lot of the representations of Black people I saw were just very cool. And I was like, I would love to be that cool, but I'm just not. And like, you know, I spent my 13th birthday writing a novel in my bedroom. And so seeing like Shiri was I really enjoyed that, like being this sort of nerdy girl.
You know, I think you've said such an interesting thing there, because I hadn't thought about it, but the minute you said it, of course, there's a wealth of characters, particularly in the Black Panther movie, which is set within the world of Wakanda, where you see a whole ton of African people who have different attributes, rather than it's like he's brilliant, don't get me wrong, but every Sam Jackson movie where he's the coolest guy on the screen, he's the guy who knows what to do, and he's slick and he's fast talking and all that kind of stuff. And quite often it would seem to me that, you know, and it happens in cinema because it can be quite reductive in terms of how it deals with characters. It boils people down to the lineage, takes this attribute and says, right, cool person, nerdy person. Do you know what I mean? And Black Panther's much richer than that, I think.
I think I definitely enjoyed that. And when I talked to, say, my brother, like he was like, oh, I really relate to Killmonger, or like my dad was like, Mbaku, I liked him. Yeah. And I think it's lovely seeing, that. And also the fact that the Black Panther, like he draws his strength from all of those different people. It's not kind of, I don't know, it really sort of emphasizes the importance of community. Like the fact that there's a scene where they're all crowning him king and they're all vital to like his journey.
Yes, absolutely. He has community-based powers and community-based beliefs, and family is, such an important theme in that film. In both in terms of the the protagonist and the token, kind of nemesis. It's all about family, isn't it? In its different ways, shapes, and forms.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And what was your feeling about Chadwick Boseman, to whom this anthology collection is quite rightly dedicated? What did you feel about his impact within the film and outside of it?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think I was reading this like really lovely article about like how he's such a like really beautiful vision of like manhood and like Black manhood. He's like, I don't know, it sounds like he's like charitable, and I don't know, like it seemed like he was perfect for the role, and also like it's just such a loss that he's not going to be around anymore.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, and I think that's a fitting note to close out on. Again, Black Panther: Tales of Wakanda is dedicated to Chadwick Boseman, and not only that, it's closed out by your short story, ZOYA the Deserter, the prime position for any anthology collection. And I know I was talking to Jesse the other day, and he was so excited by the short story that you delivered. I think when people get to read the anthology, which you can order from the links right here, they will really enjoy what you've done. And thank you so much for joining me to celebrate Black Panther: Wakanda and your awesome career to date, which I'm sure is only going to get more spectrally impressive.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it was great to see you, mate. And again, thanks for keep on supporting Forbidden Planet. We appreciate your
definitely.
Take care, Temi. All the very best.
Bye.
Bye-bye. If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.